Hey guys, what's up? So this is an interesting fact. I don't really do opinions much anymore. It's all facts and experience and evidence. So the gematria for Jesus Christ in the original Greek that the original New Testament was written in is Jesus Christus. That adds up to 2368. And gematria, by the way, was a system established long before the Bible was written. So it's not just like someone created some code after it was written. These were already numerical values before the Bible was written. And in Hebrew, Yehoshua HaMashiach, which is Jesus Christ, these should actually be switched because Hebrew is right to left, Jesus and Christ. That gematria is 754. So, of course, take 2368 over 754 and you get 3.14, which, of course, is pi, which implies that if the circumference of a circle is 2368, its diameter would be 754. So if the circumference of a circle was Jesus Christ in Greek, the diameter of that same circle would be Jesus Christ in Hebrew. Okay? Just let that sink in for 2 seconds of your miserable life. And this is Genesis 1:1, which is 666 times 3 plus 703. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And you can see clearly the golden ratio right there, 1.618. And then if you look at phyllotaxis, growth in plants, you'll see that everything grows, or most plants grow in a 137.5 degree angle. And of course, 137 is a very mysterious number if you know anything about light, photons, and quantum physics. Here's that same glyph again, the golden ratio in a triangle within a sphere. I mean, this is fun stuff, y'all. These are all the approximations for alpha, which is 0.00728, blah, blah, blah. And here's the best formula for alpha, which is the charge of an electron squared over Planck's constant over 2 pi times the speed of light. I mean, it's just beautiful to me. Like, that's nature. But the easiest way to figure out the golden ratio's relationship to 137 is if you have the golden ratio right here, the angle degree of difference would be 137.5, and what I termed the Phine structure constant, as opposed to Fine. It's Phine because phi is clearly illustrated as the golden ratio. No biggie, where's my fucking Nobel Prize? Anyway, let's get to gun control. In the 1920s, government bans alcohol during Prohibition and then crime rises. And then, a couple of years later, the government bans machine guns because guess what? Crime rose a little bit. So to me, the beginning of this 20th century was essentially the beginning of oppression, unions, big government, and a bunch of bullshit like this. Yeah, the government's going to ban alcohol and crime's going to rise. And yeah, of course, when they re-legalize alcohol, they'll say guns are the problem. No, bitch, government's the problem. Always has been. Here's a good one. The churches want to say the great revival talks about the new heaven will come down to earth, so don't worry. But then when you actually whip out a Bible, which most Christians don't, it says, woe to the inhabitants of the earth. And praise those in heaven. The earth is going to die. The earth is fucked. There's not going to be some physical new heaven. Are you serious? Heaven is when you're dead and you're not in this body. The earth is fucked. You want to get out of here. The New World Order's coming. But that's, all hearsay. Here's my main point today. This, this kind of perfect accident. What pop culture science never mentions. Deja vu. They have no explanation for how deja vu feels so real. I, however, believe it's quantum time having a future leap because, in quantum physics, time is not linear. And science also forgets to mention dreams. Many dreams are obviously about your current psychological state and gives you clues as to how you can help that. But science says it's just bullshit. Science also ignores psi evidence as specifically presented by Dean Radin, who wrote The Conscious Universe. Psychic psychic phenomenon, telepathy, is real. All you have to do is study, you boring piece of fucks. UFOs are real, obviously, as spotted by thousands of pilots and government officials throughout, the 20th fucking century. Science doesn't look at gematria at all, so they'll never understand how the word hides pi, alpha, the speed of light, the circumference of the Earth, all that other shit I've been telling you for years. Science doesn't give a shit. And by science, I mean the scientific community. The current pop culture science does not give a shit about truth. They don't care that cannabis cures cancer. Only a couple of fucking freeloaders think that. Oh, but when you actually study it, it's 100% true. Free energy exists because of Tesla, but we have to worship Edison instead. Thousands of years of astrological evidence would not even be a part of a scientist's curriculum. So, because they don't believe it, they don't study. That's not a form of fascism at all, is it? The Code by Karl Monk clearly illustrates how every major monument is connected mathematically using pi and all that stuff. The moon is hollow. As the NASA scientists clearly said and studied, the universe is actually run by electricity, not gravity. That's why there's sunspots in the sun. The sun is colder the farther you get into it, not hotter. The drug war, if they could just, if they could just do one little study on how cannabis has killed 0 people while alcohol kills thousands of people a year, scientists could, really help out with that. Gun control statistics, there's no science behind that. The observer effect in quantum mechanics, they still don't know what the fuck is going on because they don't want to acknowledge your soul, your consciousness as a valid form of matter manipulation. And they also don't want to talk about how people destroyed all ancient knowledge. Okay, the Cortez. I said white men originally. All white men destroyed ancient knowledge, like the Library of Alexandria and all that shit. But guess what? It wasn't white men who killed fucking Mayans in Mexico. It was Cortez and the Spanish who killed all that fucking. It destroyed all the knowledge, killed all the people, and then because the Mayans thought Cortez was Quetzalcoatl because it was a bearded man bearing the cross, and the Mayan Quetzalcoatl god was a cross and a bearded white man. But anyway, that's just my opinion. And they want to say God is the brainwashing element in society when they don't want to look at any of this shit. Get the fuck out my face. Grow up, science. Go home, you're drunk.